Back now at 7:40 on your Tuesday morning. Nearly 30 years after being convicted of murdering their parents, the Menendez brothers had a hearing to discuss the possibility of getting out of prison. During Monday's hearing, the judge postponed the proceedings until January. And joining us this morning to discuss this latest development is our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor. Whitney, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, this, of course, has captured a lot of attention across the country. We now know that there was no ruling yesterday. We got to wait till January.
Yep.
But it also goes to show you what can happen when you have new prosecutors on a case. Can you talk to us a little bit about that from a legal standpoint?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So prosecutors are elected officials. And so here you had a prosecutor who was voted out in November. He was the one who had made the decision to move forward to try and do this resentencing, trying to get their sentence from a life without possibility of parole down to 50 years to life, which would make them eligible for parole now. So that was that prosecutor. This incoming prosecutor, he's now saying, now he's not necessarily saying, I'm not going to go for resentencing, but he's saying, I need time to review it. I need time to make a decision. So this just shows you the power that the prosecutor has in terms of who they're going to prosecute, to what degree they're going to prosecute, when they'll suggest resentencing, like a situation like this. So it's good for us to see the system in play.
Right. So this is now something we have to wait till January for, as we were just talking about. In that time, what can we prepare for and expect to hear?
Yeah, so it's going to be, as I understand it, really a resentencing hearing. And they're looking at two primary pieces of evidence that came up that were not introduced at the trial. So as you remember, the boys, their defense was self-defense because of years of psychological abuse and these other things. Well, that wasn't really accepted, that notion in the 80s of, it just wasn't common or understood that could happen, father and son, that kind of thing. And so there were two new pieces of evidence that came forward supporting that. One was a letter that Eric had written to his uncle talking about the sexual abuse, and then the other was a Menudo band member who had alleged the father had also drugged and raped him. So those two new pieces of evidence would lead them to a new trial.
I'm always fascinated, you know, when you have a big case like this one. You know, you've been in the legal profession for quite some time now, but this even goes back before you started your profession. What about this case has garnered so much interest from so many people?
Well, it's just such an interesting, the underlying facts are just this Hollywood family, you know, the allegation that the boys killed the parents just to get to the money, the allegations of sexual assault and all these other things. It was really fascinating. And I think what happened recently was, one, these two new pieces of evidence came forward. So they filed a habeas motion last year, but there was also the Netflix series. Which brought forth a lot of attention, and the DA was getting a ton of calls for people calling for their release, so he took another look at it.
And you put the case in front of a new generation of people who may not have heard about that case prior. We've seen this happen, like with popular podcasts like Serial, of course, going through the Adnan Syed case too. Is this something we're seeing now as these podcasts and Netflix docuseries and what have you are becoming more popular?
I don't know that it's necessarily a trend that we're going to see. I think those situations are exactly right, that's what happened. But I think what's interesting is the cultural shift. You can see now what a jury would look at when there's allegations that a father was sexually abusing the boys versus what a jury thought in the 80s. That was just, they just thought, hey, that doesn't happen, that's weird or whatever. Now this culture would say, yeah, we believe them.
And important to think about as you talk about a new prosecutor on this case as well.
Yeah.
All right, Whitney, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.